And nerds, we are running down the news from Marvel, Warner Brothers, and Star Wars, starting now. Welcome to the Nerd Social. I'm Nathan.
Hi, I'm Priya.
And I'm Colin.
Hey, so it's been a while since we connected with you guys, so we wanted to talk about some of the things some of the latest news from Marvel Studios, some breaking news we'll talk about in a little bit from Warner Brothers, and some interesting developments from Warner Brothers, and also we'll talk about Andor a little bit as well. So the I guess the big news out of Marvel was from Comic Con a couple weeks ago, or last weekend? It was last weekend, right? That
The end of July, a couple of weeks
yeah.
ago, I think.
I think it was last weekend. We got the Comic Con. Sorry, not 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks ago. We got the Phase.
Yeah, I was like, that's weird. I
It
think
was
it
two
might have
weeks
been two
ago.
weeks
Yeah,
ago.
we've been away for a little while. We got the Phase 5 and also part of Phase 6 announcements. So yeah, so we got some insight into what Marvel's doing while and we didn't get much from Warner Brothers, but I guess this week we found out why we didn't get much from Warner Brothers because it's a bloodbath over there. But we'll get to that. But this is what we got from we got a full slate of Phase 5 things. I mean, what did you guys think of the announcement for Phase 5? What's your favorite or most anticipated out of this bunch? I know, Colin, you wrote like a long blog post. So what's your most
Yeah,
anticipated
it was
stuff?
huge.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'll let Priya start first because Priya's on the like on the top end there. You can
yeah,
go ahead, Priya.
No, I mean, so even before we got onto the Phase 5 stuff, I do think like the fact with the Wakanda
hmm
trailer really got me because I'm like just super excited, and that's the end of Phase 4. So I think that was just considering how much weight and expectation that movie's going to carry. I think it was a really just beautiful
hmm
trailer that we saw, considering
Mm-hmm.
everything that and we can talk about that separately. But I think, oh my gosh, with Phase 5, I mean, I don't. It was so much to take in. It was just so much content. If I think about what I'm most excited about, I mean, I'm looking forward to what they're gonna do with
hmm
Loki season 2. That was like a interesting kind of storyline that they developed. Also because we know that Kang's gonna come back for Ant-Man. So I'm kind of curious. I think with everything we saw in Captain Marvel, I really, oh, sorry, Miss Marvel. I think the Marvels is also something I'm looking forward to. I think those two are probably the two like immediately, but honestly, like, House of Harkness is gonna be really interesting because Agatha was such a great kind of character in WandaVision. So Blade, I mean, it's really hard to pick actually, and of course Daredevil. I just feel like I'm gonna pick everything. But I think Marvel definitely stole Comic Con, and this image
yeah. And this
alone kind
image
of
alone isn't
pretty
even
much says
everything
why.
because we got Phase 6 stuff as well. We can talk start talking about what those 8 empty
Yeah.
slots were. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was definitely a lot. I think as you said, Priya, like what I'm most immediately looking forward to is Black Panther. We're still not even finished for Phase 4. We got two more things. We have She-Hulk coming
Yep.
out in 2 weeks, and they mercifully um, put that on 2 different days to make it easier
Mm-hmm.
for viewers and also people like us who are trying to cover this stuff, so we don't have to try to watch and also prepare for 2 different shows on one day. So Andor is going to be coming out later on, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the trailer a little bit later. But like it would have until they move She Hulk yesterday, it would have conflicted with Andor eventually. So I'm glad that
Mm-hmm.
they realized there are other days in the week besides Wednesday.
Yeah.
So She Hulk will be on
Yeah.
Thursdays, starting on the 18th, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that show is looking fun, looking like it'll be a fun little show. It's also, I think it's 9 episodes as well, so it's probably one of the
Hmm.
longer. It is, I think it's the longest because I think WandaVision was 8 episodes. Was it 9 episodes? It might have been 9 episodes. So it's since
I think it was 9. Yeah.
Since WandaVision is the longest show that they put out. So all the other shows were like 6 episodes. I think so. Yeah, looking forward to that. The trailers look fun. People are still harping on the CGI, but she looks basically like the Hulk does. So it's fine. It looks fine to me, and it seems like they're gonna like go crazy with all the random corners of the Marvel universe, which is what She-Hulk usually gets into, because she's defending super beings. So there's all kinds of D and C-list people like Frogman that might show up. But yeah, also Matt Murdock is going to show up as well. So that should be cool.
I was gonna say, he's a lawyer too, and I feel like he's getting a whole lot of love through all of the phases now, right? Because we know he's going to be in She-Hulk by the end of that trailer. He's obviously getting that 18 episode. That's going to be the longest, because it's like 18 episodes of the Daredevil show, and then he's going to be in Echo. Then he's also in the Spider-Man animated series that's coming up. So I feel like Charlie Cox is getting a whole lot of love in this new phase.
I don't know if he's worked at all since the end of Daredevil, so it's nice for him that he's getting all this work right now. He just had to be patient, I guess. I hope he saved his money, so it wasn't too it wasn't too bad for him for the last. I don't know when was the last season of Daredevil?
Daredevil, was it 2017 maybe?
I think it was earlier than that. I think it was like 2019.
Oh, 2018.
2019. But still. Okay.
Well, the Defenders was it after or before Defenders?
It was after. So after Defenders, they did 2 more. They did 3 more things. They did Jessica Jones season 3. They did Daredevil season 3, and they did Punisher season 2. So I think. And
wasn't Iron Fist season 2 also after?
No, it might have been.
I don't remember. It could have been.
No, I feel like it is only because of how this season ended. That's why I'm only thinking it's after. But anyway,
it's possible. I doubt that everyone else is going to be coming back. But Charlie Cox, they're definitely investing heavily in Charlie Cox. They wouldn't have put him in a movie if they weren't.
Yeah, well, and Kingpin, because he already showed up in.
Yeah. I think some of the people are actually, besides this, they're investing heavily in the Daredevil universe that was created there. I don't know what they're going to say. Basically, maybe it was a different universe and it's the same face. Just like, we just now saw a multiverse movie with Doctor Strange and he had the same face, right? So maybe that.
Yeah. And he was in No Way Home.
Yeah.
Right.
So I guess we will see. I don't know if they're going to answer those questions until his series comes up. Speaking of Phase 5, that's one of the things, as you said, Priya, that we're going to get 18 episodes. Is it 18? Yeah, 18 episodes of
18.
Of Daredevil, Born Again, which is a classic story from Daredevil where he's like stripped down and he loses everything, which again, there's questions about whether or not the other universe or the other shows actually count, because they did a little bit of that in the third season of Daredevil. So yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. So I'm looking forward to the Charlie Cox stuff, just to see what they're going to do with it. I think Ironheart is probably higher on my list here. I don't know if that's a show or a movie. I think that's a show. Ironheart. I'm going to see Ironheart. I'm going to see Ironheart we're going to see Ironheart in Black Panther. So that's Black Panther kind of forever. So I think if I had to rank these, I think the Marvels is probably the top, and then Ironheart, and then Blade, and I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Captain America: New World Order, because I given where they left it, and people are still upset about Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie being Captain America. They're still complaining about it online. I want to see what they're going to do with that. With that movie, especially with the name that they have here, New World Order. It could mean a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna go with red, white, and black because I think didn't they say
I think
that
that
in
was
one
a
of the
trademark thing that they
episodes?
were trying to
Or
do,
wasn't that
and basically it was one of the trademark leaks that they were trying to say, but they didn't reveal it
Yeah.
as a potential movie.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's what I read online. But that was one of the titles as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm interested
Yeah.
in all the other things as well. Like you said, Priya, Loki. I mean, Loki is higher on you guys' list than it is for mine. I mean, for me, it's not at the bottom, but it's
Yeah.
not. It's like in the middle of the pack for me for the shows. Thunderbolts. I'm curious what they're going to do with that. Agatha. I'm curious. Guardians. I've never been a big fan of the Guardians movies are fun, but it's not my favorite thing. Echo. I'm again a curious based upon because I actually liked Hawkeye. Secret Invasion. Again, curious. I'm mostly interested in Quantum Mania because of Kang and also the possibility of them showing the Fantastic Four showing up at the end of Quantum Mania. But yeah, that's how I feel about the Phase 5 slate. So Colin, what do you think of what's coming up?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. I just
Yeah.
think that they're going to somehow make it more. There's going to be some consistency and continuity. I think one of the things that I think in Phase 4 that people get kind of weirded out about is that there's no sense of continuity with all the different properties and stuff. I mean, my theory is that it's going to start with Secret Invasion, then it's going to go to Captain America, that's going to go to Thunderbolts. So I mean, you can see that there is some type of progression that might lead to as to like plot lines, as to like characters and things like that.
You mean
So
leading
that might be
into
very
the?
interesting.
You mean leading into the Avengers movie? You're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, you're going to start with Secret Invasion, and then that's going to probably bleed somehow into the Marvels because that was Captain Marvel, the first Captain Marvel movie. Then it's going to bleed to Captain America. Then it's going to bleed to Thunderbolts, or they might just have something separate. Who knows?
Well,
But
this
that's how
is
I see some type of progression going there.
this is in chronological order. So I think Quantum Mania definitely comes first, and they'll definitely have some
Yeah.
multiverse stuff happening in that one. I don't know how much multiverse stuff because like the end of the road, because people have been complaining for the last year that they don't know where they're going. The end of the road is the multiverse
Right.
Avengers movies in Phase 6, which we'll talk about in a bit. So I think that they definitely did some multiverse stuff in this phase. Actually, a lot of multiverse stuff in this phase with Loki, Multiverse of Madness, and also Spider-Man. They did some multiverse stuff, and I think they're just going to do
Yeah.
even more
Yeah.
stuff like that because
Yeah.
I think the Marvels will definitely touch on that. I don't know if the Captain America movie will do that at all.
Cap. So I was just looking chronologically. Captain America is the last of Phase 5.
I thought
So I feel
Thunderbolts
like
was
I
the
thought
last.
Thunderbolts was the last of Phase 5. So that's what I'm saying is that I think that there's going to be
Oh,
some
no, you're
there's
right.
going to be
Thunderbolts.
some consistency, I would say, in terms of weaving some of these properties together.
Mhm.
Hopefully a little bit more less confusing. Yes, I mean I understand what you're saying when you say like No Way Home was kind of like carried over to Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness,
Mhm.
but the other properties didn't seem to like fit in some ways to like the greater multiverse saga, and it's kind of like that's what I'm trying to say.
I don't think that some of them will fit at all. Like
Yeah.
they owed Black Widow. They owed us a Black Widow movie. They owed her a Black
Sure.
Widow movie, and they should have done that years ago.
Sure.
I don't think that's going to necessarily
Sure.
fit, except for the fact that we got her in Hawkeye, and we're definitely going to probably get her in Thunderbolts, like the new Black Widow. So that's how that fits in. But I think the way that they're going to make the other stuff fit in is in Phase 6. When we start talking about Phase 6 in a bit, all those empty slots. We'll probably get a Shang-Chi.
Yep.
We'll get
yeah,
Pat.
probably like
Pat
Eternals
Oswalt
too.
actually confirmed yesterday or the day before that we're going to get an
Yeah.
Eternals too. So I think that's how we're going to connect the things that people thought were kind of not connected to the multiverse saga.
Right.
In Phase 6.
I just think it's one of those things where like what connected really well in the first few phases was it was all kind of brought together with the Avengers movies, right? And this time it's kind of like all these individual movies, and they've called it the multiverse saga. And I agree. I mean, I think we had talked about that, even when we were doing Miss Marvel. Well, how does this connect into the broader narrative that they're trying to tell with the phase? And it's still not completely clear. And honestly, when I did this with Phase 5, it still wasn't clear, let's be honest. Because Kang is supposed to be like, the new Thanos, I suppose. And we'll definitely see Quantum Mania and probably Loki. But then does he not show up again until Phase 6?
So I don't think you see him again until Phase 6. And remember, Phase 6 begins with Fantastic Four. So I think you see him then, and then you see him again probably in the Avengers movie. Because I think
one of them is Kang Dynasty, right? So
I think he's going to probably show up in both of those movies. But again, you don't probably want to you want to use him, but you don't want to use him too much because you gotta remember how much they use Thanos. They didn't use Thanos that much in any of the movies before. Or like he showed up as like a man in the chair in like the first Guardians movie. At the end of the Avengers movie, he was just like a hand that said, "I'll do it myself." So you want to, and also I guess they could use Jonathan Majors a lot, but the ultimate whoever Kang the Conqueror is, you don't want him to show up that much. But the way that Kang works, there's lots of different variants. So they can, and we already saw one of those variants at the end of Loki, but that wasn't Kang. And we also might get in Phase 6 a Young Avengers movie where we get Iron Lad, who is just a younger Kang. So like there's all kinds of, I guess, opportunities for them to have Kang show up in the next phase. But I don't know. He might show up in Marvels as well. I think they're going to be in space anyway.
You're right. They didn't show Thanos as much, but they also had much less content in the first few phases.
Yeah. This is so like this, as much movies or things that they have on this one thing is how much they had in like 2 phases. Like, and this is just one phase. So I think Kevin said in a couple weeks ago that their phases are shorter now, but they have more content in each. So it's like a year, maybe a year and a half. Is the phase as opposed to 2 years or 3 years, and they're doing a lot more because they have television and movies. So yeah, there's a lot going on here, which is great.
Great for us because we're gonna be very busy.
It's great for people who are Marvel fans, but for those who come to Marvel for like the overarching storyline. That it might be confusing to them and a little bit overwhelming to keep up with because there's definitely is a lot. I mean, Secret Wars, if they have like Daredevil and Spider-Man, if they actually do it right, could be really, really interesting. Like they're building up a large roster of people. Like I don't know, you can imagine like Moon Knight on the same battlefield as Spider-Man, because that's a movie that you do the craziness like that, where you just put everyone.
I mean, sign me up for that. I would watch that in a heartbeat. That better be in Phase 6.
We also got.
But I mean, I guess I want to ask you guys a question though, because I hear it a lot from probably more so like, bandwagon MCU fans that don't really they just go into like as a popcorn flick, and there's no talk about oversaturation, and I think that. I have heard that a lot from my friends who just like these movies, but I think once they saw the announcements, they're like, whoa, this is so much content. And I mean, there is that balance, right? I mean, we love it because like it's great for us, but there is a danger of oversaturation where at some point there's just going to be too much. Is there going to be just too much content?
So I guess you don't necessarily have to follow every single one of these things to get the Avengers movies. I think what they're going to do is try to make the movies unmissable. Otherwise, they're going to leave money on the table, right? Like if they don't put enough in the movies to make you come and show up to movies. I mean, you and Colin, you'd have to. I mean, without spoiling things, you'd have to tell me whether or not that's the case for the Thor movie because I haven't seen it yet. Still, because I was busy over the last month. I mean, was there at least teases for the future that you would that showed up in that movie that was interesting?
I mean, there were, but I in terms of like the overarching multiverse saga, possibly there could be some possibility to that. But other than that, I think that Priya does bring up a very good point about how there could be oversaturation. You know, if we mentioned many times, if you're not on the train now for Marvel, you basically missed it already, and you just, you know. They just put out the fact that, you know, if you want to watch the whole MCU, you have to watch over 100 hours of content, which is crazy. It's nuts. But the thing is that I think that people are just going to gravitate to their certain worlds, you know, that they're going to like to watch, you know, the casual fans I'm talking about. Yeah. And I think that they're just going to go to the Avengers and they're like, okay, the Avengers is like the big tentpole. Yeah. We're definitely going to watch that because it's like where all the major crossovers are. And then, we'll just go back to other properties when we feel like it. Or
that they're interested in. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So.
I don't know. Like, they have like 8,000 characters, and there are people like us who would want them to play as many of those characters as possible. But I could see it being overwhelming to some people. I don't know. As long as the quality doesn't slip too much, I don't really care. And I want more. But yeah, but yeah, I can understand them wanting to also be careful about like protecting the brand, because like they if they get to a point where people think that they can completely not go to a movie, then and like I said, I still haven't seen Thor 4. I mean, that's mostly because of personal issues. But like, it's also partly because like Multiverse of Madness was good but not great, so I didn't feel like I needed to run out to see Thor 4. So they do need to maintain a certain level of quality. And also I think.
But maybe it's also the fact. But it's also maybe the fact. I think that what you're saying, Nathan, also is that you might just gravitate to certain characters. You know, right. You might just want to just focus on their story. You know, whether it's Black Widow, whether it's Moon Knight, whether it's Blade. You know, you're gonna gravitate, or the Eternals. You might want to just gravitate to those characters that you know and love. And then like, okay, I'm just gonna follow them, and then whatever happens, and I just don't have time in my life to watch everything. Now, for us fans, you know, we're gonna be like, you know, even for the more diehard Marvel fans, we'll be like, we'll watch everything, you know, even if it's if the quality is kind of say not as good, you know, and. So I think that you know
I don't know about that. If the quality slips a lot, then yes, I will not necessarily feel like I feel compelled to watch things that I mean, life is short. But
I think the question is also like, will Marvel continue making, you know, like these big movies and all of these shows if they don't actually get butts in the seats in the theaters, right? From the people. Because you're going to have, like, your core Marvel fans, right? Who are going to show up and watch these. But if you're not getting... Because for the Avengers, like, the amount of people I knew that just loved those movies and nothing else in the realm of Marvel, but they loved those movies. And I'm just wondering, the more content you release, you might end up, like, losing... You know, those kind of casual fans that are just there for like popcorn action
who have watched
type
the
of flicks.
Avengers movies only and have never watched the ones in between, because it kind of confused, especially like Endgame and Infinity War. It's confusing if you haven't seen some of the stuff before.
Not all of. Yeah, I think they watch like they watch like Iron Man. They watch like the main ones, but it's not. They didn't watch like Ant-Man 2. You know, they didn't. That's what I mean. So I think like there's certain. there's certain you're going to get fans that are gonna come up because of like the gravitas of an Avengers movie. I don't know if you're gonna get the same, if the more movies and content you produce, it's just a question of, are you going to have enough people show up every single time if you're having so much content in a year? It's a question. I mean, even for Thor, when I went to the theater, I mean, maybe that's still a COVID thing, but it's not like it was full and it was really easy to get tickets. It was not the same with Spider-Man, actually. I will say that. With No Way Home, it was actually much more demand for tickets. I didn't see the same with Multiverse or with Thor. And those are like established characters, let alone when you're going into like, phase 5 of
I think that's where I think,
with.
Priya, you're mentioning is maybe the quality did slip a little, and also the fact that Spider-Man is very popular, and also I would also predict that Black Panther is going to be just as popular.
Yeah, I think
it's going to bounce back, because I think that because I think Black Panther is gonna
really
hit it out of the park. I mean, not to give that high expectation, but just from what you saw in the trailer, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of tears in that movie. Let's just say that. A lot of tears.
Yeah, it's funny. Before the trailer, we were talking about this, like, because I haven't seen the movie yet, Thor 444, but I heard your general thoughts about it, and I think I was mentioning to you guys that they're gonna leave it up to the black dude to try to save this, because it's been kind of like mediocre, not mediocre, but like middling movies for the last couple. And they're gonna put it all on the shoulders of the black guy, like Obama had to do when he took over as president. But yeah, it looks like he's gonna deliver based upon that trailer. I mean, if the trailer is any indication, it looks like he's gonna deliver. So
but but
I would like to hypothesize who we think is taking over the Black Panther mantle, but.
No,
maybe
we
later.
can talk about that now, because we actually need to talk about phase 6, and also there's like a mess of Warner Brothers that we should probably talk about. So we can talk about that now.
I mean, before we go, I think that in terms of anticipation, I would say Blade, definitely. Wesley Snipes is going to make a cameo, or he's going to be a major character. I want him back now. And then the X-Men animated series, which is not featured there.
It's not even featured here. So this is so much content, like, and it's not even listing any of the animated stuff. So
those are my two.
So to your what you're saying, Priya, I will say that even as a Marvel fan, like, it was an event whenever you heard the Marvel music at the beginning, but we hear it since WandaVision came out, we hear it every week or so, like we've heard it like 40 times over the last year, if you count every single episode where you hear it at the beginning, and also all the movies. So you don't feel as hyped up about it, even as a person who's a fan.
Yep.
So that might be an issue for them. So they got to make the movies like awesome. They got to make the movies awesome, because you really were anticipating. The gap between the movies, it would even make like an Ant-Man movie good to you, because you were thrust back into that universe that you didn't get to see for, like, I don't know. I mean, even at the end of phase 3, they were doing movies like maybe every 6 to 8 months. So you weren't in that universe for like 6 months, and you got to be back in that universe. So since you get to be in that universe pretty much all the time, you gotta bring it when people have to leave their house to be in that universe.
Right.
So yeah.
Exactly. I mean, right? I get their strategy, because they always want to be in the conversation, right? So it's like, between the movies, you're going to get TV content. I mean, I might be wrong, but probably like the gap between She-Hulk and Wakanda Forever might be the longest gap they've had in this phase. And it's only like 3 months or something, or 2-3 months.
I don't know, but She-Hulk is going to run from like the middle of August.
Oh, She-Hulk.
Huh? Yeah, it's gonna.
That's
yeah,
true.
it's gonna be.
Longer.
Yeah,
it's
gonna run until like almost end of September, and then November is gonna come around.
Yeah, so maybe not then. Maybe it won't be a long gap. But yeah, It's just exactly what you're saying, right? Like the anticipation is so different now because we just have so much more content and we love it, as like Marvel fans. But even for me, I can feel it like, oh, we're gonna get something else really soon now. Versus before, it was like every time you heard, you saw the Marvel Studios thing, especially before an Avengers movie, it's just so exciting. And I'm not saying it's not exciting now. It's a different level because we're so used to
it. And I also like what they're doing with the shows. They're playing with the song at the beginning. Sometimes it's not just the Marvel, the trumpets. It's something else. They definitely did that a lot with Miss Marvel. They even did it with WandaVision at the beginning, at the first show that was out of the gate. But yeah, I think that what Colin was saying about people just deciding not to tune in is going to be unfortunate for the fact that in this phase is when they're starting to be more diverse, right? So like if this is where people are going to tune out and just come in where they want to, then people are going to do things like Miss Marvel, which is what we were talking about a couple weeks ago, or Miss the Ironheart show. So like when it was all like white dudes that everyone was tuning in, but like because they have so much content, people are going to tune out, and it's the more diverse people who are going to get the short shrift, and like they're going to be people who grew up with this universe and are really happy to be in this universe, like Iman, who aren't going to get the same treatment as like the Robert Downey Jr.'s or the Chris's. So yeah, that's what I'm concerned about. I think Iman is probably having a great time right now, but we'll see how many projects they put her in past the Marvels.
That's a good point.
So yeah, all right. So that's phase 4 in. That's phase 4 in 5. Now we need to talk about all the empty spaces in phase 6, because what we'll probably get in D23 is some of this stuff filled in, but it's basically. Actually, I didn't even notice this. There was one actually before Fantastic Four, so there's going to be in fall 2024 something, and then after, and then in November there is something else. So yeah, there's a lot of slots here. There's 8 slots here. They're definitely.
Yeah, but they're also just a question because I have the same timeline on my phone because they have fall 2024 listed twice. So does that mean I'm guessing
that means that there's something going to be like it's probably going to be a show. Like it's not going to be a movie.
September, November.
It says like it's
or like December.
Like spring is.
Yeah, they're not going to put.
So it's probably like
they're not going to put a movie that close together to another movie.
No. No. I mean, talk about
cannibalizing. Although they did have Eternals come out in fall 2021, and then they had No Way Home come out at the end of the year. So there might be a movie at the end of the year. And there might be shows here.
Technically, No Way Home is not Marvel Studios.
So I would assume that you're gonna get Spider-Man 4, the 4th Spider-Man movie, either in 5 and 6 here, like somewhere in 5 and 6. But because they're not going to announce it in Disney's not going to announce it. Sony's going to announce it. So expect that there's going to be some type of 1 month apart, just like it was last year between Eternals and No Way Home. So there's going to be something like that.
Yeah, and this is 2024. Yeah, 2024. So yeah. I mean, there are suggestions that they have to do a Spider-Man movie every couple years, or they're going to lose the license. So like they'll push something out, and we'll find out whether or not it's going to be a Tom Holland movie or it's going to be a Miles Morales movie.
This is not going to. This is not. So Spider-Man's not going to be part of this picture that you show here. That's not going to be part of it. So you can put kind of Spider-Man to the side.
Right. It's not one of these slots. No, it's not. It's not one of these slots.
We already know Spider-Verse, right? And it's obviously not mapped on this, and that's gonna come out. I think it's 2024. I know they moved the date. I can't remember now.
I mean, you can probably check that while we.
Yeah, I'll check it because I know they moved it a couple times.
I know.
That's why
I
I was
know.
like,
Maybe one part is actually coming out this year, actually, because it's two parts.
There's two parts to it
yeah,
for
I'm
Into the
checking.
Spider-Verse.
June 2nd, 2023.
Okay.
So it is next summer. The
Okay.
first part's next summer. Maybe it's the second part that's supposed to be
Yeah.
2024 then.
Spoilers for Miss Marvel before I say what I'm going to say next. So like we if you haven't seen it yet, go see Miss Marvel. so we know that mutants are coming because of that show. So I think definitely going to be a mutant title in here. I don't know if it'll be the beginning of this phase or the end of this phase, but it doesn't look like mutants are going to show up. If they show up, they're going to show up the way that Miss Marvel showed up. Like we're going to find out that more people are mutants in phase 5. But I think they're going to have like a full like mutants movie somewhere in here. So I think that'll definitely be one of the things.
I'm going back and forth on that because I think that if they want mutants to be in Secret Wars, then they're probably going to have to fill one of these slots. So it's going to be between Fantastic Four and
they don't necessarily have to.
They don't necessarily have to, but like, if they want to do that.
I think they definitely
there could be a
want
possibility that they're going to go to phase 7. So
No, I think they definitely want. Secret Wars. They probably want as many people on the board as possible because that makes Secret Wars that much cooler. But they don't necessarily have to have a mutants movie to do that. What they can do is just introduce mutants piecemeal, like they did with Miss Marvel in other things.
Got it.
One of these could be a show where they actually introduce a lot of different mutants. It couldn't be instead of having a movie, like a three episode or maybe even a 10 episode show, because these are slots for movies and shows. So,
and Deadpool 3 is technically not part of any of this because you're going to have people there probably.
Deadpool 3 it would be part of this. It would be one of these slots.
You think
Yeah. So and also we were talking about earlier, Eternals would probably be one of these slots. Also Shang-Chi. Yeah. So that's three of the 8 filled. So Eternals, Deadpool,
for Shang-Chi, I don't think that's going to be the case because we know that Justin Daniel Cretton's going to direct Kang Dynasty. So
I actually heard. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. You can do some googling right now, but I'm pretty sure that they're doing some pre-production on Shang-Chi already.
Really?
Yeah.
With him as director? Really?
I think that what we will get is either another movie or we will get a 10 Rings show.
10 Rings show. Yes.
Remember at the end of the movie, it said the 10 Rings will return. It didn't say Shang-Chi will return.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be a Disney Plus show, definitely, for phase 6 here.
Yeah. And also because they might want to tie in, the kind of stuff that we saw in Miss Marvel, with that connection.
Although
with
I think that might be explained in the Marvels. That might be explained in the Marvels. Okay. The movie, like the 10 Rings connection, might be explained there. But I don't know. It could be in the show. They could touch on it in the Marvels and then expand on it in a 10 Rings show or a 10 Rings movie or Shang-Chi movie. So there are all kinds of options there.
Yeah, I think that it's gonna be. I think that because I also read online that Deadpool is starting as well. So so I would anticipate there's gonna be Deadpool there and also X-Men. And then, if you're going to tie in the multiverse, I think that they're going to have to tie in, what happened at the end of Doctor Strange 2. So, might be something like that.
Might be another Doctor Strange movie. Yes, definitely might be another Doctor Strange movie. I heard earlier today, and again, I don't necessarily want to spread rumors that they're also looking at a Nova movie, which might be connected to. If they Nova might show up maybe at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy or might show up at the end of the Marvels, and then get his own show or movie in phase 6.
Yeah.
So.
And they're having Is Okoye getting her own show? They're doing
her own show as well, and they are, and that's supposed to be separate from a Wakanda show. And I don't know. I don't know. I feel like the Wakanda show, if they're gonna do an Okoye show in this phase, in phase 6, the Wakanda show might be in like phase 7. It's like some of the stuff that they're talking about is probably going to be pushed off to a phase that we haven't even seen yet. Like there's also Armor Wars isn't here. And I haven't heard that they canceled that. So that also is something with Rhodey, and that'll probably have Riri in it as well. Armor Wars.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep. That might be one of the slots as well we haven't seen yet.
That's definitely going to be a show, I think. So
yeah.
So there are lots of potentials.
A lot of content.
Here. There are a lot of content.
There's a lot of. I mean, and we, it's not official at all. So again, not about the rumor thing, but like maybe with Moon Knight too, right?
Oh yeah. Actually, they did confirm. I think one of the actors. So I think he kind of was it the actor or the director?
It was both. It was both of them, but it's like on a TikTok video. So like people are like, me or maybe not, because they were like the question was like, oh, is there going to be a season 2? And the director is like, what, of Moon Knight? And then they go to what's his name? Oh my God, I'm only thinking of his character name, right? Oscar Isaac, and he's like, why else do you think we're in Cairo? And then the video cuts. So it kind of like it doesn't say anything committal.
Yeah. I definitely want to see. But I want to see more Moon Knight.
I mean, it will be them, and maybe like Blade. Maybe in Blade they'll put in Moon Knight. That seems to be like if they do, because we had talked about this with Moon Knight as well, right? Like it was such a standalone story without any real connection, but they could do that in Blade.
It's funny. We
Midnight Suns.
We listed all this stuff, and we remember the last slide, the what I was showing you before. We didn't have any of the animated stuff, but we also know that there's going to be a Werewolf by Night thing coming out, which wasn't listed anywhere either. So there's all this stuff that's coming out. That's coming out this year. So the last thing in Phase 4 isn't Wakanda Forever. It's the Werewolf by Night thing that's coming out at the end of the year. So. Yeah.
It's so much stuff. I mean, I realize we've been talking already for an hour. I mean, I just think it's so funny when you juxtaposition this versus just the crapshoot that's happening right now with Warner Brothers and HBO, because we are not gonna have lack of content on Disney Plus, right? As a streaming service. So it's just kind of like, and then you're getting all of this news in the last couple of days of what's happening over at Warner Brothers, and and I know that you guys were talking earlier as well, like DC wants to reset and have the same plan, but then at the same time they're like canceling, they canceled Batgirl, and they're releasing all of these movies that we knew were coming, like Shazam and Black Adam.
They're going to lead to nowhere, apparently.
But I don't know when this.
Yeah,
because if you're resetting it, then
they're going to depress
what's your deal?
I think it was a debacle. I mean, we can switch over and start talking about Warner Brothers, but let's do that. It was a debacle this week. Like they
I've been waiting.
They shot themselves in the face, and like I feel like they didn't mean to release the information about Batgirl, and because they had to, they started to talk about all kinds of other stuff that before they wanted to talk about other stuff. So the Batgirl news was annoying. If you haven't heard, Batgirl they spent $90 million on this, and Warner Brothers killed off this movie. They're going to basically take a tax write-off. Warner Brothers Discovery is what they are now. They're going to take a tax write-off for this movie. And the actors screwed. Everyone who worked on this movie is screwed. Like she was on social media caping for them for the last year or so, so excited about this role, and it's taken from her. And in the last day, they announced that they're going to go ahead with a movie about a white dude.
With Lady Gaga being Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
With Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I don't think
exactly.
they meant to actually have to release that information. They were doing damage control. They were doing damage control for this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, it's not like it was, a small movie by any means. I mean, you had like Michael Keaton coming back as Batman. You had like Brendan Fraser, and you had J.K. Simmons.
You had a bunch of stars in this movie. It's like, this is not.
Yeah.
You don't treat talent like this because they don't want to work for you. if you do this stuff, there are other studios. So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean she's earlier in her career, so she's kind of sort of in a place where she sort of has to take what she can get, I guess, which is why it really sucks for her. But like you listed a bunch of people there who could work for any studio, and they did a bunch of work, and it's not going to be seen by anyone. Yeah. I would be pissed. So
yeah,
I'd be pissed.
And this would have been the first time we would have seen Keaton back in
his
Batman suit. I mean, come on.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's like that alone is iconic, right? Like, I would have loved to have seen Keaton and that probably would have been before, the Flash movie, whenever the heck that's released. I mean,
I think what's
happening
here is that given all the issues that they have with Ezra Miller, they're going to scrap that. They're going to get all the Michael Keaton stuff is going to go not going to be released. I think they're going to all of it's going to be. They're not going to release a Flash movie either. Like I think they're going to take because I guess the other.
I heard that they were going to actually do it because I did read something online today that it's still going to happen.
So the other.
But probably
the other
straight to streaming, I would imagine.
We can talk about that's breaking is that from Variety a couple hours ago or a few hours ago is that HBO is Max is going to be merging with Discovery Plus. So I don't know. They're going to release it to streaming, I guess, and then people will see Michael Keaton's performance, and then they're going to give up on everything, because this is supposed to be the Ezra Miller movie was supposed to be the reset, and now they're going to have to reset the reset. It's a mess. It's a mess over there. And we were just talking about our HBO Max subscriptions. Like I don't want to have to pay for two different streaming services. It's one company, and I feel like they're going to try to make us to squeeze money out of us.
Yeah,
and that sort of experience is just going to sour a bunch of people and not have them. That sort of experience with the brand is going to sour people, and they're not going to. I don't think they're going to sign up for another service.
They're not. I
think that I was one of these streaming services like Paramount Plus. So before that, it was CBS All Access. They decided to change it to Paramount Plus. That was an easy transition. They just changed the name. If you were already paying, they just they put up a new website. They put up a new portal. But everything was fine. They didn't want to piss people off and make the situation difficult for people. But these are two different streaming services now. It's not like they're changing the name. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to merge these two streaming services. So I don't know how they do this in a seamless way that doesn't piss off a bunch of people, because there are very different people sign up for HBO Max than sign up for the reality TV stuff that's on Discovery Plus. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the way that I have read online about it was that Discovery Plus is going to be the branding. They're going to keep the Discovery name, and then like it's going to be like an offshoot. For those that are watching internationally, Disney Plus, they have offshoots. So like they don't have Hulu internationally. So I was in Canada actually 2 weeks ago, And so they have what's called Star, and like Star is very similar to what they have in other international hubs as well, and it's under the banner of Disney Plus. So there's no Hulu, and I think that's probably what's going to happen with this is that we're going to have a Discovery Plus subscription, but HBO Max is going to be put under subset of it. Yeah,
subset.
Sure.
Now,
but I mean, what would make sense? Like, I know the dude who's taking over, who's taking over, was a Discovery guy. But like, if he's making good business sense, no one knows what Discovery is outside of the side of the U.S. If they roll this all together, they should call it Warner Brothers Plus or something like that. That's an international brand. People know that brand. If they want this to be an international service,
I feel like HBO as well. People know more so now, and that might be thanks to Game of Thrones. Right. But like people know the HBO brand. I'm actually surprised that they're gonna go with Discovery because to me, even for me, I'm like I know HBO Max and HBO Go for much longer than I've ever known Discovery. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think the question really is like, what happens to people's subscriptions? And I mean, they need to make that pretty clear because, especially like we talked about, they've already started taking content off on HBO Max, right? And that's a big reason why people might sign up is because they see that content.
In the back of my head, I was like, it was a couple movies that were Max originals that I was going to get to eventually, like the movie The Witches with what's her name, Anne Hathaway. I never watched that. I was going to watch it. They took it off. It was a Max original. So
ridiculous.
You can't see it anywhere. That's the only place
until summer 2023.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, where are you moving it to? Keep it until you merge. I mean, it just seems like I don't know. I don't know what the thinking is. I mean,
branding. I guess that they're trying to compete with brands, and I think also. What I would be very upset about would be if they took away the HBO content from this merger, because right now HBO Max, one of the reasons why HBO Max is somewhat successful is because it has HBO content for those that cut the cord.
So I think they want you to pay twice. They want you to pay for Discovery Plus, which is going to be a bunch of like reality TV stuff that you probably don't want. Or some people.
Although Man vs. Wild is very good, though.
Some people want it
because I would love Man vs. Wild.
They do have a fair amount of subscriptions. Actually, this article probably says how many subscriptions Discovery Plus has. But those are different people. Like I don't watch a whole lot of unscripted content. And after they strip all the premium stuff out of HBO Max, what's the point of having Discovery Plus? Like, I don't see the point of having
exactly.
So you just have an HBO Go subscription, I guess, but with less content. But I never had an HBO. I never paid for HBO Go. I just used someone else's thing because HBO didn't make enough content to make sense having a streaming service. HBO Max had all the HBO content, plus they were making extra stuff. So,
Exactly.
It's going to be weird. I mean, no, it's, I feel, and it'll be curious now, since we do have Black Adam and Shazam 2 coming out, because, I mean, the Batman movie with Pattinson, it got on HBO Max pretty quickly. Consider, and then back when like Wonder Woman 2 went straight onto HBO because it was during COVID, that was that whole ordeal where, studios, this whole going straight to streaming, which was actually, I think, started by Warner Brothers, to be honest, with this HBO deal, right? Like, that was like the big disrupting thing 2 years ago, and now it just seems like they're completely backtracking.
That guy lost his job because of that decision, though. Like
the guy did lost his job.
So he was the head of Warner Brothers, I guess, Entertainment, and he pushed that strategy. But Warner Brothers was part of AT&T. It was a small concern in the larger AT&T thing. So now it's one separate company. So this guy can make his own decisions. And I guess he's giving up on streaming, or he's having some sort of other streaming strategies. It's very unclear what they're going to do. And
Very unclear. Very unclear because they probably HBO probably got a lot of people
yeah,
join
Yep.
because of that, right? And so I guess maybe he's counting on I don't know, maybe banking on
Yeah,
some
which
other
would
business
probably be
strategy.
not as good. And the other thing is that nowhere in the news that they said are they going to continue Robert Pattinson's Batman. I
yeah.
enjoy that movie. So I don't
Yeah,
know if they're going to continue that. If they're going to say you're going to wipe out everything and say we're going to start fresh, 10 years,
you think that's part of
that's
the
gonna
set?
that might go on the chopping block if that's the case. If they're saying that I want to start
Yeah.
off like how Disney starts off, what are you going to say that the Batman is part of that or not? That would be very disappointing as well if that was the case.
Are they was that Batman part of the
No,
same DC Studios? Like was it
it,
wasn't, right? So
It's
that's
not
my
under the
only
Snyderverse. No.
no. Yeah, it was a different universe. So similar to the Joker movies, which are another yet another universe. So yeah, this thing says in the second
yeah.
quarter, HBO Max, HBO and Discovery subscribers combined was 92.1 million. So it's up 1.7 million prior to the previous quarter. So 22% of 22%, 7.58 million per former basis versus the year earlier. So I mean, there's a lot of subscribers for all if you combine them all, but they have to explain what their strategy is. I mean, Paramount Plus is a little like this. Like Paramount Plus, they have movies on there. They have all the Star Trek stuff, but they also have some. They also have some reality TV stuff as well, like Love Island and stuff like that as well. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe it'll be more like Paramount Plus because there isn't any reality
Yeah.
TV stuff on HBO Max right now. So
Digressing a little bit, only because Colin said Snyderverse. I mean, and I just remembered that whole thing with
yeah,
release the Snyder cut. Somebody
Release the
has to
Batgirl.
somebody has to be like
Yeah.
release Batgirl,
Yeah.
release Batgirl, right? I mean, that
that's
surely
that's
has to
they're
trend. I
not
mean,
going to do
come
it. Because they
we got 4 hours of Snyder. How can we not get
because
Batgirl?
the people who want the
It's
people who
so
want to watch
preposterous.
Batgirl aren't as obnoxious as the people who did the Snyder Cut stuff. Not only that, but the company
They're all bots anyway.
yeah the Discovery stuff the Discovery company that took over for Warner Brothers. They're going to try to do this as a tax write off, and they can't claim it as a tax write off and then later on make money on it. Down the road because then they would have to pay the taxes that they had the write off for. So they're going to take this as a tax write off. And lesser news was that they also canceled a Scooby-Doo sequel as well, and they're going to take both of them as tax
Yeah.
write offs. So they can't down the road put it on a streaming service or release it in the movie theaters. Otherwise, the IRS will come after them for that money. So yeah.
Well, boo.
So someone
Boo. I was hoping Nerd Social could start the release
someone
the
will have to leak
Batgirl
it though.
cut.
Like that. I think we could see it, but someone would have to leak it. Like Leslie Grace actually posted some stuff on her Instagram today with some behind the scenes stuff. But she probably had some clearance from the studio on what she could show. It's basically just in her dressing room. It's not any footage. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a terrible situation. It sucks. You
Such a shame.
it sucks for her, but like you said, Priya, like it would have been cool to see Michael Keaton in the Batman suit again, and we'll see if we see him on HBO Max in the Flash movie. But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
but one more thing is that this think that they're going to merge the two streaming services. They said that in that breaking news that they're going to merge next summer. So we won't have this type of big merge until we have to worry about our subscription prices until next summer.
yeah, but it's still like,
Yeah.
and I guess they will get. This is also what I was talking about when we transitioned from the Marvel stuff. Like there's no clarity here. They weren't meaning to roll this out. They're doing damage control because of the Batgirl leak. Like because you don't communicate something like this You don't communicate something like this without some sort of planning. So there's this, and also earlier today we had the 10-year plan, the 10-year Warner Brothers DC plan that he said that. Yeah, yeah. So again, you don't say something like that when you have a bunch of movies coming out, because what is going to happen is that people are not going to go and see those movies because they're not invested in the movies that are going to get scrapped or the movies that lead to nowhere. So if this was planned at all, they wouldn't have done that. But it's not planned at all. They're basically doing damage control. So yeah, it makes no sense. So we're getting a lot of news out of Warner Brothers, similar to like we got a lot of news out of Marvel, but it's a bunch of unclear, uncertain, not great for most, not great news. So we got a canceled movie. Yeah. We got 2 streaming services that are going to merge, but we don't know how they're going to merge. And we got a 10-year plan, which is going to scrap all the stuff that we are going to be watching over the next year. The Flash, the Aquaman movie, the Shazam movie will probably lead to nowhere. So I don't know.
And probably Wonder Woman 3. I mean, I think that's supposed to be soon in the works too. But who knows?
Yeah, I don't even think if they're in pre-production for that, they're probably going to scrap it. Like, or if they want to continue to maintain the relationship with her, maybe she'll be in the next whatever. I'm not even gonna say phase, because they're not. They haven't earned the right to say phases. They're not organized. They're not organized enough to get that title or whatever. Yeah. They haven't even executed one phase effectively. So
I know. I feel like they need to get like. I mean, I know that we're trying to do with Zack Snyder, but if they get like, because we all talk about Christopher Nolan's Batman series being like so iconic, and Batman is clearly kind of their biggest cash cow right now, right? I mean, even with the Pattinson movie, it was a very refreshing take on Batman. I mean, you got like emo Bruce, but it was kind of nice to see a different, younger version of Batman. But yeah, it'll be kind of curious how they're gonna reset everything. I mean, I'm guessing they'll redo all of like the classic Superman, Wonder Woman.
But why? They just did.
I feel like they have to.
They just.
I know. I agree. I completely agree. It's kind of odd, that they would do that, but I don't know what they mean by the reset.
I mean, there is kind of precedent in this, because I know that the animated universe, they did that reboot, in one of the Flash stories. I think in one of the recent animated movies, they did a whole reboot of everything, and then they just kind of like wiped everything out and then start over. So I mean, if they were creative enough, they'll probably use something like this in live action, so that they can kind of give at least a little bit of respect to what happened with the Snyderverse. But knowing them right now, they're probably not going to do that either.
I mean,
yeah, because I agree, Nathan. Like, it'll be odd to remake these movies that we've already seen with characters recently. We've already seen.
We are on. They were first out of the gate. They made the first Superman movies like back in the 70s, and they still are making Superman movies like at the beginning of Superman movies. They should be so far ahead of Marvel at this point. They have so many different characters. I don't know if they have 8,000 characters, but they have a lot of characters besides Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. And and it's great that they eventually got around to making a Wonder Woman movie, but like they don't need to reboot that and start over again. Maybe tweak it a little bit if they want to tweak it a little bit, but like I don't need another origin movie for Wonder Woman. I don't need another origin movie for Batman or Superman, and I want to see other characters. I mean, they canceled Batgirl. Who knows if the Blue Beetle movie is going to be canceled? Who knows what's going to happen with any of the stuff on HBO Max? Like Young Justice, is it going to get another season? What about Doom Patrol? What about
Harley Quinn?
Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is on right now. What about Titans?
Titans.
They've been teasing for a while that they're going to do a John Diggle like a Green Lantern show. Is that still going to happen? They're canceling all the stuff over on CW.
Like Flash is ending, and that was like the longest running DC
Stargirl is going to start
show,
in a couple of weeks. I was actually talking to the people over at the production people like a couple weeks ago. So they're ramping up to do the third season of Stargirl. But like, is there going to be another season of Stargirl after that? So like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, because if they were expecting that Batgirl wasn't going to rake in cash like they wanted, to me it signals like they might go back to like their core trio, which is Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, you know, if they're not willing to go outside the portfolio, which is unfortunate because they do have like you were saying, Nathan, like a stellar portfolio of different characters. But I don't know. That's why I was like, it's a plan that they want to do this 10-year like Marvel, but what does that mean when you say reset? And if we're gonna get the same movies that we've seen, it's like seeing. Do you really want to see like another Tony Stark right now? No, because we just saw him. You know, I don't need to see an Iron Man reboot. Just like I definitely don't need to see another Batman origin story. I think we've seen way too much.
Wait, we don't know how he died and how he became Batman. We didn't know that. We don't know that at all.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I liked the last Batman movie, but like I was kind of burnt out on Batman. Like we've had in the last 12 years, we've had 3 different Batman, and it's for all those people who are like talking about recasting T'Challa, you can get annoyed and also burnt out on the character. So I think they will eventually recast that character, but recasting it so quickly after we saw one before, like they did with Batman, you start to get sick of it. You start to like, and Batman is one of my favorite characters, but like I didn't rush out to see that movie. I saw it on HBO Max, so I don't know.
I mean, at least do like Nightwing or do like Batman Beyond or something, right? That it's different, right? You can keep it in the same sphere, but I think just to keep doing Batman again, and I love Batman, trust me, like he's one of my favorite characters. But yeah, even I'm like, we've had a lot of Batman movies now.
Yeah,
it's a lot of Batman movies. Maybe bring Christopher Nolan to do like another superhero movie and see his take on it. Though. You know,
like he made a lot of money for the studio, and he did that so he could do whatever he wants to. And now whatever he wants to is like things that he makes up, which is fine.
Like Tenet.
Yeah. Right.
Like Tenet.
But they definitely need to, if they're going to do this 10-year plan. And, you know, and this is another indication that this is not planned. Like the fact that they say they were going to merge HBO Max and Discovery wasn't planned. This 10-year plan thing, all this is unplanned. It's all damage control. Because if they had a plan, they would have also announced who's in charge of this. Because the CEO is not going to be in charge of this. He need a creative in charge of this, like Kevin Feige. But they don't have that information because none of this was planned. Mm-hmm. They're all in the planning processes. And they let something leak that they probably shouldn't have let leak, or they probably shouldn't have done in the first place. Like, it's obvious that they did this for like tax purposes to make the merger a little bit cheaper for themselves, but like, it screwed a bunch of people. And they should have known. Like, there's a bunch of business people working with a bunch of creatives. They should have known that they can't screw people over like that without it like leaking out, and it did. And and then there are a bunch of PR people running around trying to plug some holes, I think, is what happened over the last couple of days. It's been interesting over at Warner Brothers, to say the least. I don't know.
Yeah, we might have to save Andor for another call. But yeah, I feel like, because Black Adam is what? Is that also around the same time as Wakanda? Is it November? What's the release date for
Black Adam?
It is like soon.
Black Adam's release date is October 21st.
Yep.
Yeah. So Black Adam
Okay. So quite.
Shazam Fury of the Gods is going to be Christmas, basically. And then Aquaman 2 is March 17th. And then The Flash is going to be June 2023.
Maybe.
And I guess that's when the 10-year plan
I mean, if you think about it, Man of Steel did start in 2013. So, you know.
I mean,
that's their 10-year plan.
I guess that's the 10.
Honestly, like, I don't know, but like they also are making this Joker movie. Like this is not part of their 10-year plan, but they decided to say that they're going to do this movie. So this again, this is unclear. What they're doing over there is unclear. Like what the direction, what they're trying to do is unclear. So.
I wonder if they're trying to poach Kevin Feige.
Disney's not going to let him go.
They need to do something.
Hell no.
Yeah, like Kevin Feige probably has like a bunch of profit participation in all these Marvel movies. Like he would have to like no. There's no amount of money that they could that Warner Brothers has that they could get him to come over, even if he was just motivated by money. He's built up such a brand that he just needs to get a couple points on each one of these movies, which he probably already does in the back end. That like there's no Warner Brother movie that he can make that give him more money than these Marvel movies. So like yeah.
True.
Yeah. So I don't know. So that's all the Warner Brothers movie, all the Warner Brothers news. Lots of Warner Brothers news that is all confusing and slightly annoying. Yeah. I think we were going to talk about Andor, but like you said, Priya, I don't know if we've been talking for like an hour and 16 minutes now. We should probably break and talk another
one
day.
Thing about the
next
trailer
week is a slow week. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. One thing about the trailer, it does look promising. So, you know, I'm surprised that they're starting with a 3-episode event. You know, on September 21st. So, yeah, we could talk about it more next week. But that was pretty surprising to kind of do that.
I think it's because they delayed it. So it's similar to like Obi-Wan because they delayed it, they released 2. So I think it's the same thing with Andor because they delayed the release. They're trying to compensate by saying you get 3 episodes.
But the trailer looks cool. I'm looking forward to it. They're giving us a lot of episodes. So it should be interesting. Looking forward to that in the fall. But yeah, there's just a lot. There's a lot coming out on Disney Plus. We didn't even talk about like random stuff like the I Am Groot stuff. Like they're dropping stuff all the time over on Disney Plus.
I know. I mean, we can talk about like all of the fantasy stuff. I mean, we're also getting Picard season 3, which seems to be like a TNG reunion, and we're getting like Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, there's a lot of content that. I mean, it's a great time to be a nerd because
what we'll probably do
so much content.
Since next week is a slow week, except for Sandman, we'll do another one of these when we can talk about all the fantasy stuff coming out, and that's what we do next week.
Okay.
All right. So that is what we think. But we're interested to know what you guys think about all this stuff. So comment down below, like and subscribe to get more content like this, and we will see you next week. All right, guys. Thanks. Bye.